Okay, so let's switch over to the layout here. Oh, oh, we got an alert. Hold up, there was an alert here. Where are my alerts? An alert was definitely going on in my page away from there, wasn't there? Am I seeing things? Well, okay, we've got a lot happening. A lot of people followed in between the stream and last, not the least of which being Spunky Heart Index Page and Ike Heldon. Welcome to the Igloo, all three of you, and also everyone else I missed along the way, because I have been big busy. So we get to play America's favorite game, Untangle This Thread, because I decided to dye this Sashiko thread yellow for another project, and I didn't keep it, like, wound up nicely. Very, very glad to have you here, Spunky Heart. We are going to be embroidering some stuff tonight. Where are my needles? Embroidery is not the usual content around here, but I thought it would be fun. Okay, I think the usual needles are in here. So, needle. Needle. The music tonight is currently courtesy of the Perry County Band Festival from 1966. If you're new here, you might not be familiar with the very strange music I tend to choose. I am a collector of strange items, and one of the things that I wind up collecting is, things that are non-commercial presses that you'd never be able to find. They just, you know. And so that usually leads to a lot of weird school bands. And shocker, because these things are non-commercial, they're not going to get dinged in the various copyright systems. Because you know how these automatic systems, they mean well, they really will call you on the weirdest things. So, rather than doing it normally and sourcing I should have untangled this thread before stream, you know that? Rather than doing it normally and sourcing a royalty-free playlist as the most streamers do, I instead decided, you know what would be fun? What if I just picked up stuff that is impossible to get copyright struck for? And indeed, I do find it very fun to listen to. This is someone's, high school band, and they were very enthused about doing it, you know? It's like someone was very excited about being in band class, so much so that their parent was like, hey, I will buy the vinyl pressing of your band concert. So it's a family memory, you know? And now I get to perpetuate that thing. And this actually isn't half bad, I gotta say. You don't expect huge things out of a high school band, or at least I don't. Maybe because I'm a former choir kid, and so I'm like, oh, dude. Okay, I can't make this much longer. Right? Use trackpad. So how long is this? It's about as long as it can be. Everybody cross your fingers, by the way, that we don't get got by one of the cats while we're in the middle of something. Struggle is real with that string, best of luck. And I was wondering what this music was. It's very unique. Yeah, I doubt I will get struck for this, and if I do get struck for it, I have a pretty reasonable defense. It's like, oh, this matched this given piece. I'm like, it's not the recording I guarantee you it's not the recording you're expecting it is. Try again. have to excuse me it's the easiest way of sub-threads. Okay, let's see if I can thread the needle live on stream. It's made chocolate. Papercut's back soon, eventually, by the way. I have some very fun stuff in order for it. But, apparently if you sit here and you wiggle it just so, it'll get in there. I've never believed that. Do you have a needle threader? That would make this a lot easier. Is that a thing I own? A needle threader of some kind? Let's poke through the sewing kit real quick. Is this a needle threader? Or is this like a thimble of some kind? I feel like this is a thimble of some kind. Which we may need later. Do I have a needle threader? The answer is no. I'll just have to be good at... I'll just have to be dexterous for something. I've managed to get threads into the eye of the needle before. So we'll see. So I might be better off just trying to manage to avoid the catastrophe with the string. That's very good. Am I in shot doing this, or am I just sitting here talking at the screen? Guys, everyone, success. Defeated is the string. We've successfully threaded the string. Step 1 complete. The hardest part of the process is now completed. I am only slightly joking. This is actually going to be really easy. This is actually going to be a really easy embroidery stitch because I have not done a lot of embroidery before. So now that we have the thread threaded, we tie the little knot in the thread. I'm going to do it this way with the roll for my fingers. Some people like to do a knot in the style of the French knot, where you kind of like spin the needle around the thread 7 times. I've never had much luck with that, personally. So, I am just now realizing that this Sashika thread is not the same as traditional embroidery thread. It's actually much thinner. So this may make this a bit more difficult. But the idea is we will be making a triangle of 3 threads. 1, 2, 3, and then weaving through those 3 initial strokes, such that we can make a thing. So, you know what? Do I need to put these 3 initial? I might need to put these 3 initial ones under tension. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just use my brain. So we move a little ways outside the house. First thread goes. Slightly. No, that's going to be the same amount of fabric regardless. This is where we need that little thing I had earlier. This little needle pusher. Yeah. Little silver needle thingy. I don't know what this is actually called, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and use it for leverage. Try and get the thread through this. Ooh. Nailed my finger. I usually don't do that. But, so we get this first thread in here. so, see this, the struggle I'm having right now, getting the needle through the fabric, is exactly why we're doing this particular stitch, the Picot stitch. Because the idea is you set these first 3 strokes of thread, and then it's just not bound to the fabric anymore. You're weaving through. Sorry to be a bother, but the music seems a bit loud. No, that's absolutely fine. I appreciate it. The music is a little loud. That's a little too quiet, though. How's this? A little better? I appreciate the audio call. They getting the audio just so. Ooh, I just did something I didn't mean to do. So I have a little tutorial running in front of me here. So 1. Okay, that does work like I think it does. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the audio call. So then the second, line here needs to go a little outside the tear so it'll stay put. Like so. But I appreciate the audio call. It's like I don't have much of a way to. See how much harder that was? Did you see my hand struggling there? How much harder that was without that little metal thing? This struggle I'm having is exactly why I chose this stitch. So, you know what? I think I need my little, embroidery tensioner here. Because I don't think these threads are going to stay put otherwise. One moment. There we go. I had to grab the little embroidery hoop from its place. I just realized that if I place this right, it shouldn't be a problem. If I just do one of these, that should be just fine. Yeah, absolutely. Just fine. What I was worried about. We can get the tension hoop into place. Kind of had to muscle it in there. That is very much off center, but it'll do. That's okay. Sometimes I don't know if it's just my ears. The audio is actually slightly too loud. I haven't done much in the way of embroidery either yet. I wanted to. Then I had some weird hand things that seem like arthritis. Crunchy fingers. I agree crunchy fingers are hard to do anything with. There's a reason I got these tension gloves on. Because my hands also are full of opinions on things. So, ideally, this being slightly to the left of the center of the here is not the end of the world. Can I do more than 3 here? I think I could weave more than 3 here. But I agree with you, crunchy fingers are very difficult to do things with. And I gotta tell you, it's been a very much a balancing act, like how much hands do I have available to do what I want to do versus what I have to do for, say, my job. I'm gonna do more of these. Yeah, look at that. See how these should stand out. See how there's only 3 here? It feels like I need to put 1 here and 1 here. Just equidistant to try and, like, cover this a little better. The idea is once we get all of these, once we get this, like, little woven area of a patch in, then, I have this black thread here that I will kind of stitch I'll kind of like run along the edges to stitch it all closed, if that makes sense. So, we'll put one right about a little further. So right about there. Yeah, right about there. And then also, I did learn my lesson, and I'm not jabbing my finger anymore. I was like, oh, I had originally had my finger under there to make sure that I knew where the needle was going, which I don't normally do. I don't know why I had that in my brain. But I've been big busy lately. If you've been following in the Discord, I've been stumbling into embroidery lately. Just for the sheer factor of how good it is at producing men's that look cute. You know, if I'm going to go to the trouble of mending my own clothing, I want them to be able to tell the story of, oh, I fixed this because I was able to do that. Or, oh yeah, there's this usual wear pattern. It's like the slightest bit not through there. Come on. Get through there. Good heavens. Just there we go. Woo! Harder than it needs to be. And so now the idea is these 5 threads, we start at the very top, and then we weave this through. So, very top is right about here-ish, I'd say. Let's start here. Oh, that's way too far. Okay, needle wants to be right there, so I guess it's going to be right there. We're going to start right here, and we're going to start weaving through. Let me double check my tutorial here that I'm doing this right. Then we just kind of weave it. Yeah, just under the tip to the left, under the first thread, over the middle thread, and so on. And then we just literally weave it. So it's kind of an under, over, under. And then we run that as close to the tip as we can get. Pull it through. And then repeat. And I assume, you just alternate your weaves as you go. Now, traditionally this is used for this is cool. And traditionally this is used as kind of like a leaf shape. You know, you produce like your, wow, that was, I got stuck for a second there. We traditionally are making like, botanical, no, absolutely not. I really appreciate it. There's a reason I do a book-based podcast, which is going to be coming back soon eventually here. There's a reason I do book-based podcasts, where I read books aloud. And it's because I've been told I have that very soothing sort of voice. So this is traditionally, as far as I'm aware, used to produce like leaf-shaped fills. Because I'm doing this completely off camera. I'm doing this completely off camera. I need to choke up. Okay, so now that we can actually see what I'm doing, let me show you. So we are now over, under, again. So we're literally just weaving this through. Over, under, over. Like so. You know, it's literally weaving. And traditionally this is used, you know, that sentence that I've started 3 times now. This is traditionally used for like a leaf shape. Because, you know, stereotypically, embroidery does a lot of botanical shapes and botanical designs. I've been following some of what you shared in Lumina's Discord, and it's so cool to watch the embroidery happen in real time. Embroidery is like such a wild thing to me. We were over here, so under, over, under, over, under. Like embroidery and weaving, really like scratch that part of my brain that like is like, oh yeah, you're making something in a medium you had no idea you could make things in. And you know, embroidery stereotypically is kind of like that. You know, you picture a, you know, a high class society woman doing her stitches, and you picture, you know, like botanical scenes and that sort of thing, and this would be primarily used as either a fill or a leaf shape, but I am co-opting it for a bit of a triforce shape. This triangle may not work perfectly for that idea. It's not quite. Yeah, do. Then over, then under, over, under, over, under. Like so. And the previous stitch that Spunky Heart is alluding to here that I mentioned in Lumina's Discord also came up in my Discord. That is a kind of like a crochet style stitch. It's called the Ceylon stitch, and yes, I do only remember that because it's also a kind of tea. But we'll see how this one comes out. I might stick to the Triforce plan that I initially had, Triforce idea, or if it doesn't, if it's not the correct triangle shape for a Triforce, I might lean in and do kind of like a beehive type thing. Maybe I could do like some little French knots, or, ooh, what I could do, here's an idea. If this comes out as beehive shaped as I'm expecting it to be, what I could do is make little Ceylon knots that imply bee shapes. You know what I mean? Very fun. We'll see how this comes out. I'm already liking how this looks. Either way, we're gonna need to, at the very end of this, take the black thread off the left-hand side of the frame here. Well, I guess my left, your right. Stage right, if you will. And tack this down to the edge of the fabric. Because I want it to hold as a patch rather than, you know. Oops, I missed attention. Okay, so over, under, over, over. I almost wonder if I'd be better off, as I'm weaving, to like plunge this into the fabric to set each of these rows. No, that won't work. The beehive shape idea sounds so lovely. However it comes out, it'll be excellent. I appreciate it. I hope so. I'm, I'm gonna be wearing this around and it'll be very blatantly obvious. So I'm hoping it comes out cute. But yeah, I don't know. It's been very interesting to like dive into the world of visible mending in particular because it's so counterintuitive to what I expect mending to be. I when I'm picturing mending, I'm expecting someone to like be invisibly like darning a sock, or putting in a ladder stitch over a hole in something to make sure it all remains cohesive. You're trying to leave as little of a footprint as possible. Tradition. That's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing one of my grandparents or my grandmother sitting there darning a sock while watching the Wheel of Fortune. You know what I mean? So, visible mends have been very interesting for me to dive into, especially because fabric is not a medium that I've done a lot with. Despite my years-long ardent love of the concept of cosplay, I have done precious little in the realm of fabric before starting to mend my own clothes. I like this. I think it's giving off a little bit more of a beehive vibe uh, than originally intended with this texture, but I'm here for it. I think it'll look fresh. It'll look cute, and I'm essentially just weaving a little piece of fabric here. Is all this stitch is turning out to be. I like the idea of adding something of your own personality as a man on your clothes. I know it's so solar punk, isn't it? Um, and this is, in no small part driven by my love of solar punk, but also just driven by like, I like, I. Is this the sound of music? Lovely. Um, I wasn't expecting that. This is the overture they're rushing. Super badly this song. Slower. But who knows? Yeah, this is essentially just making a little piece of fabric. You just establish your set of weft threads, I believe is the technical term, and then you just weaving. You're just weaving, man. It's cool. I like this. I like this a lot. This is very funky. No, not an ad. Also, speaking of ads, I need to figure out how my ads running work. Because, um, oh, do you all hear that? Did you hear that, skip there? That was so clearly the, original recording skipping. Or the disc that I got this from skipping a little bit. That is something that I also enjoy about some of the music I'm going to be showing off here is I digitized it myself, so it's going to have a little bit of artifacting here and there where my equipment decides it's a fun time. Get up in. So, weave. This gets easier the more you do it, too, I think, which is really... I just did that completely incorrectly. Okay. Let's do that one again, because I just undid it. Oh, this is just getting easier, I say, and then immediately just completely whiff it. Oh, this is the overture. Thought my hearing aid stopped working. No, that's do not adjust your equipment here. That's from the record this came from. Also, how do you like your hearing aids? I have been hearing a lot of mixed feelings from some hard of hearing folks lately. I've been talking with a few people who have found that, like, as much as it does help them to hear, it's also overstimulating, so it's very difficult. I personally am not hard of hearing, but I have a lot of people in my family who are harder of hearing than they'd like to admit. You know, maybe it's just where I grew up, but, you know, you're all around all this heavy equipment, and then all of a sudden one day you can't hear jack diddly. And they don't admit it. So I'm just, like, you know, under, over, under. We're getting pretty close here. Huh? Really giving it some gas here at the end. Really getting into a rhythm here. Oh, I missed a thread. Let's see what that looks like, actually. Because as we've demonstrated, we can just do it. Well, that's not awful, actually. Running between the two threads, actually is very interesting. Is this going to cover all this hole? Well, we'll find out. It's 90% of the way done. Oh. There we go. It's so wild to think about how Julie Andrews, like, they're so amazing. It is both. It depends on the extent of hearing loss and the type of hearing loss. I have reserved ski slope hearing, so I can't hear the low frequency noises, but I can hear the higher pitch frequency. It's reversed the other way around for most people. That's interesting. You have your low hearing went first. Yeah, that, like, now as I'm sitting and thinking about that, that is intuitively backwards. I'm a fool in a man's shoes, you know that? I didn't click record. I just did like 90% of this patch without clicking record. I'm gonna have to go download the Twitch VOD for this now and like splice it in. Oh, I love when I do this to myself. But that's interesting. Okay, over. In a nutshell, in case I missed. In a nutshell, in case I missed something in producing the VOD, we are leveraging the woven Picot stitch here to produce a little patch for a hole right on the corner of the pocket of a pair of jorts of mine. Over, under. Oh, this is getting harder. Like, now that I'm getting close to the end, I have very little room to maneuver the needle correctly. Which, wow, I really, nailed the amount of thread here. Okay, so that's under, so now we go over, under, over, under, over. Don't you just love when your phone decides you don't get to type the letters you're trying to type? It's the best thing. I think I need to... under this one, puts up a little room, and then go like this. Without going into the factory faster. If I can do it. There we go. So now over. I'm gonna do this because like there's clearly 2 or 3 like stitches that need to happen. Over. Over. Because like we're out of out of room on one side, but there still clearly needs to be like 2 or 3 here-ish. What do we do? The recording has a sense of humor here. How do you solve the problem like Marina? How do we solve this problem? Like Marina? Lord, every spring, on a rainbow, I definitely remember the words to this song. Okay, what I'm gonna do is, because these 2 threads on the right, on my right, your left, are out of space, I am just going to dip down into the fabric and then back up. And then that's not part, but that's there. And then I'm gonna leave so over, over, okay. So I'm almost out of thread. Am I singing or is that the music? I ask because it sounds like it could just be part of the music. I'm flattered. That was me singing. I am. I was classically trained. I am quite out of shape. I am flattered that you think I said good enough to fit right in there. Where was it? Over, under. Right. I'm just gonna leave this kind of like trailing thread here. I think what I'm gonna do is the other left threads, so to speak, are out of space. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of, there is a technical term for this in embroidery, and I don't know what it is, but I'm just gonna kind of do some of these in this thread down, pin this left thread down, do it in a way that looks kind of pretty. Essentially, we're just going over and over and over. This, by the way, ooh, thank you for the hydrate. Where's my water? Oh, I'm out of water. Hang on a second. Big brain. The music has now changed. We are now on Art of the Hurdy-Gurdy by Michel Frontemillot. Found this in the thrift store, and I'm shocked that I need to do. This one actually seems like it got some kind of small batch commercial pressing, but it's not in any content ID database, so I can't play with it. What you're hearing is not actually a violin. This lead string here is not actually a violin. It's a hurdy-gurdy, and it's had a real renaissance in modern fantasy music of late, mostly thanks to The Witcher. It is essentially, it's a wheel violin. The best description I have of it is you take a box, right, and there's a crank on one end, and the crank turns a little wheel that has felt on it. And then over that felted wheel are stretched a number of strings. And as you crank the crank, that's akin to bowing a violin. So that's why it kind of sounds violin-like, but it has its own characteristic sound. Rather than, fingering a fretboard or soundboard. What's it called on a violin when it doesn't have frets? You know what I mean. Rather than, fingering a fretboard, so to speak, it has keys that you push upward, and then the keys have pegs that act as frets. And so it's a bit like it's somewhere between a viola da gamba and a it's somewhere between a viola da gamba and like a modern rotabow, so to speak. Everybody else hydrate with me. But yeah, it's I heard about this instrument in digging around in just early music techniques. Early music conceptually. When I say early music, I mean before the opera that I was trained on, which is like, popular Italian opera hits for soloists. And this came up, and I was like, wow, hurdy-gurdy, neat. The hurdy-gurdy, also known as the organistrum, it was initially designed at a very large scale to be a church instrument. And then eventually, over time, they learned to miniaturize it. And because it was so much easier than getting the correct intonation out of, like, say, a violin, I need to scooch this a little. I need to scooch the tension thing, the embroidery circle here, over a little bit if I want to get that right. That's I'll just do that. Anyway, yeah, this thing was remarkably complex for its time. Like, all the little keys had to be precision tuned to hit the right intervals and everything. It was a big deal. And because it was so much easier than, say, getting your intonation right on, like, a lute or a violin or something, without frets and with gut frets, that sort of thing, it became an instrument of masses, so to speak. It kind of fell out of favor among high society, but you'd hear it on a street corner because it was a great way for someone, say, disabled, to pick up an instrument and make their cash busking that way. And now it has come back as a sort of a bard's instrument in a D&D sense, very fittingly, I think. All right, so we have done our little circles there, and then I've knotted the string once, twice, thrice, just because I don't want it moving. Now comes the scissors. But yeah, if you want a modern example of the hurdy-gurdy, it is used to great effect, grand effect even, in the Witcher soundtrack. I believe the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt in particular makes great use of it. Okay, so we're looking at this, and honestly, barring this little offshoot here, I think I could put the black thread here, 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 and here, and have a pretty reasonable Triforce shape. Honestly, I think this, tell you what, let's get the black edging around the edge, and then I'll see. I don't know what sort of flute or recorder is duding there, but this is actually like, the hurdy-gurdy album, I bought it on a whim because, like, I have a D&D character, his name's Milrus Dodson, who, part of his motivation is he heard tale of the hurdy-gurdy in a mentioned in a in passing in a practice room because he was a music student before he was an adventurer, and he was like, "Wow, that's so cool!" And it was kind of a mythic instrument. And then that campaign that Milris was in kind of dissolved as D&D campaigns do, usually due to scheduling. Um, and so I put Milris in my D&D setting. Uh, and so he, in the process of getting ejected out of Barovia, because the campaign he was originally from was a Curse of Strahd campaign, in the process of getting ejected from Barovia and finding his way in my setting, he found he had the funds to commission the production of a hurdy-gurdy, and so he's the only hurdy-gurdist uh, on my entire D&D plane. Because my special little guy deserves a special little story, you know? That's what I do. That's where I get a good chunk of my fun NPCs. Oh goodness, this is gonna be nightmarish to thread because it's black thread too, so it doesn't have as much visible detail. I appreciate it. I appreciate its fun part. I put a lot of time and effort into uh, my ability to sing in my youth, and so I'm glad that it pays off. And I appreciate the call out that my D&D setting stuff is cool as well. I really appreciate Milris as a character. Not everyone does. He's a bit of a how do I put this politely? He's a bit of a card. You know, his name is Milris Dodson, and he speaks like this. And it's definitely not an affectation, darling. No way. Certainly not. I'm offended that you think so. Um, and it really, I tend to make characters by just kind of taking pieces of myself and going, how can I amplify this to make an enjoyable character? Uh, and like, Milris is very much the, what if I did this? Type of thought process I tend to get in a D&D game. And I decided I was really going to indulge that. Can I please thread this? Ooh, we got about... did we get them all? Let's go. We got them all. I think. Maybe. That or I just, like, permanently separated 3 threads. We did not get all of them. Agony's various. But Milris is very, like, oh, music gives me magic, and I literally only have magic because I decided to be a perfectionist about my music. And so now I'm just like, what's all this magic stuff do? What if I did this? You know, what if I cast heat metal on the metal inside of a gelatinous cube? What if I used what's the spell? He got into huge trouble in Barovia because one of the settlements in Barovia, the like hidden message spell. You know the one that you like cast it and then only certain people can read the piece of paper it's on. He cast that, not remembering that people hate magic in that part of Barovia, and so it got the party into huge trouble. And it was definitely not just me forgetting that and then projecting it onto Milris. No way. I'm usually very attentive to what story beats and D&D. But yeah, Milris is very naturally curious. Um, he is a tiefling, but his family are tabaxi, and it really shows. Can I please? Have I just like obliterated this chunk of the thread? Trying to thread it? This just keeps getting worse the longer I mess with it. I also didn't know embroidery thread had so many like smaller threads that you could actually take out of the main thread without uh, doing ruinous damage to the main thread. What the heck? Get in there. Get in there. I'm this close to buying a needle threader. I swear. Okay, that's one. So we have this one more left. Last one. Everybody cross your fingers. Get in there. This is so much. This is so much harder than it normally is. Why? The thread behaves so much better. I really appreciate you dropping by and having things to say. Usually it's pretty quiet in here. Okay, now that I've just... Oh my goodness. I'm about to trim this thread and then re-thread it. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm sick of this. Oh, now the thread has decided it is knotted on there. All my crossable fingers are now crossed. If I had a needle threader... Wait a minute. It's all in there. If it's all in there, then why isn't it working? What did I miss? I think... Oh no, now it's not in there. What have I done? Okay, I'm gonna trim this. I've broken it. We're not playing this game. I have done too much damage to the thread itself. We're redoing this. That's 4 of the 5 threads. So I can just take this last thread, right, and just right in there. Yes! Defeated as the monster! Let's go. Needle threaded. Yes, needle threaded. I was so worried that the needle was not actually threaded and I was just like completely obliterating this chunk of thread for a minute. No, needle threaded. But yeah, that's my fun fact dump for the night. Some of my messages are not going through. I don't know if they're too long, something clearly too chatty. No, the auto mod here on Twitch is kind of very fussy, and I need to have it up fairly high because I am a PG-13 streamer, and so it might just be being fussy. And sometimes the auto mod tells me that it's done something, and sometimes it doesn't. It's so polite that way. But I'm very glad to have threaded the needle. Oh man, that was almost horrible. And of course, now that I've done this, I'm gonna be like, no, this isn't gonna be enough thread. We're gonna have to do it again. But I say we start with the detail magic on this, and then we decide based on how that looks on the inside, how it will fare. Is that modded? Yes. Well enough. Alright, so hang on. You know what I'm gonna do before I start making the changes here? Let's see how this looks. Once. just kind of like lay the thread down over top where it might be here. Let's see what's works. I don't know, gang. Oh, I'll try again. I super appreciate the amount of detail and dedication you put into your character's backstory. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I am very much the type of guy to... Ooh, I need to keep one eye on the time. Actually, how long have we been live? Oh, I've got another hour, it's fine. But, yeah, Milrus didn't start out that complicated. He just kind of started out as, like, I'm a music student. And I like to be a problem. And then, over the course of the campaign, Milrus really, really... And then even further over the course of the campaign that I was running in my D&D game, in my D&D setting, Milrus further evolved because, like, he was starting to fall in love with another player character in Barovia. You know what? I think I like the Triforce design. I think we're gonna lean in, and then we will use the rest to start going out living. I think. Before I am so let's start here. Go over one in line with what it was. Yeah, that's the lovely thing I think about most D&D characters. They really kind of develop minds of their own, characters of their own beyond the character sheet, and so, for some people very, very quickly, and for some characters very quickly. We want alignment there. It's a little metal. Get off to. Yes. This guy. We don't need it all the time, but when we do. Yeah, if I ever miss something in chat, feel free to repeat yourself. Just stay aligned with you. We're being so rude. Good heavens. Goodness gracious. There we go. But yeah, that's something that I really enjoy about like D&D and tabletop RPGs in particular, is the characters develop a mind of their own, characterization of their own very, very quickly. Ooh, yeah, look at that, look at that. I love this. I could just see it not coming up and be like, oh, did I flag something, or was it just too chatty? Both. Yeah, Twitch chat generally does not care for very chatty people like you and I. I also have a lot to say, and I feel like about half of my chats ever get through. Unless you are, like, a regular and show up a ton, then, like, for some reason Twitch goes, oh yeah, they can talk as much as they want. They're here all the time. It's weird. It is very strange. I don't pretend to understand how it works. I gotta tell you, these gloves are not making it easier to grip the smooth metal needle. About it. Almost got it. Whoop! Hopefully, ow, jeez. I was distracted by the disconnection and reconnection and jabbed myself. Come out of there. It's literally almost through. That's it. I'm taking off this glove. Taking off this glove temporarily so I can grip the needle a little bit better. Oh, it's not helping. Joke. Let's see if this helps, because it did help previously. It's the opposite of helping. Maybe I just need to muscle it through there. Good heavens. Gracious me. Ah. Yeah. The internet's very fussy around here. On? Question mark? I gotta tell you, gang, I might just put the 3 stitches on here and see once, like, look at the back of the fabric and see if it's likely to hold things together. Because if it is, I might just do that. Because putting the like, nice little edges here and here, difficult, lemon difficult. Actually, come to think of it, we could do the nice textured looping edges on these three lines, so to speak. And these two we could just do kind of a satin stitch almost. Just kind of like a straight line that can just kind of sit there. There we go. Good heavens, that was so much harder than it needed to be. But yeah, I love tabletop RPGs. I'm a relative newcomer to them generally, but that's side one of that. What's up next? What is up next? I should check before it starts playing. Oh, no, that was just a track gap in the first side of the hurdy-gurdy? Huh. What else is in the queue? As much as I'm enjoying this hurdy-gurdy, I want to make something else. That's more hurdy-gurdy. Actually, no, before we get to the concert band. This is, St. Martin's College Male Chorus. I wish I had put more documentatory information into the name of that. But this is just some college's men's chorus, and this kind of like, this strikes at the heart of what I tend to come through there. What I tend to pick up when I'm looking for weird records, and that's in particular choruses that feel like they are in need of preservation. Come on. This is what I get for trying to patch the, like, seam area on these jeans. I'm not doing this on camera again. Hooray! Point there. This will be much easier. It's just put it there, like so. But I should have more information on this somewhere written down. But yeah, I love to pick up just like weird old records that clearly got no commercial release and are like in present need of archivistic work. And I particularly focus on choirs and high school bands because I spent a lot of time doing choir as a young adult in particular. So I just like to, have that sort of thing on hand, on file, if you will. Just okay. Now that we've got the little Triforce lines in, which it's a little unbalanced, but I think it's cute anyway. Now that we've got our little Triforce lines in, we can do the uh, edge lining that I was talking about. So I'm gonna try and hold this a little more blatantly in camera here. So we're gonna go here, and then we're just gonna loop. We're gonna pull it all the way through. And then we're gonna loop right around the edge there. See how? I'm gonna put the needle right here, so that it puts a little loop on. I always wanted to collect UD records, but I said yeah. I don't super have a ton of space for records. I'm in an RV after all, but what I do have space for is fun equipment. So I'm just kind of in the same way that we kind of like looped in the extra space on that extra thread off here on the left. We're just kind of looping around and around to make a nice little edge line here. Mostly just to sew the patch into place. Because we've got this nice little woven chunk of embroidery, and now I want it to stay put. Whip stitch, that's the word I was looking for earlier. That's what I think I'm doing here. No, not whip stitch. It's not a whip stitch. What is it called? What is it? Dang it, I was just looking at one of these. Let me open my tutorial over here. RSN Stitch Bank. RSN Stitch Bank, by the way, is where I've been getting these stitches. Whip cording stitch is what I'm looking for. It'll have the term that I need. Couching. That is what I'm thinking of. These are like little couching stitches. Just couching it in place, and it also gives that fun little edge to this thing. I may actually be able to, like so, and then just kind of like block this off. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave that little bit of yellow outside the line, and we're gonna see how that looks, because I can always come back to it. Do I know this piece? No. Can I still guess? Yes. A little farther. There we go. We may run out of black thread here well before I'm done, but such is fate. Whoop. That's not what I wanted. Get that needle out of there. The thing with denim, in particular, is it has such a like obvious texture to the weave. You know, you look at a piece of denim and it's got all them little like teet 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 teets. You know, like you can see for example, if I hold this up to the camera, I'm gonna make the needle away so I can show you what I mean. Um, if you hold this up to camera, right, you can see all these little, like, there's these obvious lines here, and there's obvious texture opposite those lines. Can I get this to focus? Not that close, but you know what I mean. It's got, like, denim has such obvious texture to the way it's, like, woven that it's very easy for me to count where I am with it. It's like, okay, yeah, I need to move this many ridges over. This is fun. This is a fun piece. I like this. I should see once if I have a liner for this anywhere. Would that be in the records over there? Maybe. Maybe if my crunchy fingers ever get more manageable, I can try embroidery. Uh, yeah, you know, I've got these. I think they're literally arthritis pressure gloves. I don't think I'm arthritic, but they do. I wear them while I'm typing. I miss my tattoo, so I'll just put one out of order. Yeah, it's you know, it's a little bit tense on the fingers. I'll freely admit doing this, but if you've got the spoons and you've got something you need to mend, you might as well. All comes down to what spoons you've got on hand, you know, as is tradition with everything. I think I've got this all tension slightly wrong because I've had to yank the needle through so many thick layers. That's plus these little couching stitches will probably keep the tear that's underneath this from spreading a little better. There. I don't know. I wasn't expecting. Sorry, I keep like putting my hand over the thing that we're supposed to be able to see. Can you tell I don't do a lot of? I've done table cam before, but not like this. That's there we go. Goodness gracious. Harder than it needed to be. Oh, I've got like an hour. I made a cake today, so that's all my spoons, unfortunately. I've been meaning to look into compression gloves. I hope they help. You know, it's always kind of stressful to pick up something and be like, all right, is this one gonna help? You know, and you're always a little hopeful, but you're always also a little bit like, but what if it doesn't? I hope you find something that helps. You know, I hope it's if not the compression gloves, something else. Um, yeah, I am particularly blessed to have although I have relatively low spoon count generally, I have very high region spoons. You know, it's like I've got, you know, say 5, 6 spoons on hand generally, but I lie down for like 30 minutes an hour, and then all 5 or 6 of them spoons are back. And so that affords me a lot of ability to do stuff like this. Where I'm just like, all right, well, as long as I plan rest time into my day, I will get the requisite spoons I need back. And at the end of the day, if I'm completely honest with myself, I am not that disabled by a given disability. You know, I have bad days where I can't do stuff, but most days I pass pretty well as an able-bodied person. You know, most days where I don't need my cane from various various exhaustions, you know, I pass pretty well as an able-bodied person. I mean, heck, I can live full time in an RV, bouncing all over the country. I'm pretty well off, all things considered, in that department. Now, did I say rather than trying to couch through what's it, 3 layers of denim, 4 layers of denim there? Rather than trying to do these fun little couching stitches, I think we're just going to try and put some sap on the stitch lines. And those are that. I say the one. This is not exactly a well-balanced Triforce, but I think that's kind of fitting actually. You know, it's a power, wisdom, courage. The courage triangle being a little small maybe suits me. Perhaps. Oh, of course. Put it in the wrong spot. These folks sound like they're having a. Yeah, you know, I agree. I think it is not perfect, but I think, especially when it comes to. Goodness gracious. Nailing myself in the fingers a lot tonight. A lot more than usual, even. Come on, it's getting farther each time I grab at it. You ever just hear, like, you listen to the group doing this piece, and you can tell they're having some fun. They're enjoying themselves. That is something when I am. Ah. There we go, now I'm back. Can I please get this through here? That's what I get. I said, oh yeah, we'll do this stitch, so we only have to put it through the thick part 3 times. Well, where I got myself now. Do I have like something to grip these with? If I have a little like pinch of some kind. You know what I might be able to use? This is not good for the needle. This is not manufacturer intended, if you will. That maybe won't work. No, it won't. Oh man, do I have like a little set of needle nose pliers maybe? That might work. Or we just gotta keep yanking it until it works. Ah, ha ha! Keep yanking it till it works. It is. Okay. So now we put one at the point here. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it through this side. Come on, you can do it. Get through there. We're so close here. We're mere moments from the end. Ah, there we go. Alright, so now we gotta tighten this thread down so it lies just so, right? And then we can put it up through here. Then we can go through that same hole so it's not quite so awful. There we go. See how much easier that was the second time? Because we used the same exact hole. Get that nice and even. And now I will put a knot for this thread within some of the couching we've already done. That there, and then we will just, I'll do this on screen as best as I can here. The Sound of Music again! I mean, it was a popular film. Very popular musical, even. With sound of music, my heart wants to sing every song it hears. So we've got the black thread knotted very nicely here. I think that does it for this. Despite the needle giving me a lot of cough here. Cut this. And I'm probably gonna regret cutting that now. It's probably gonna need some. But let's look at the back of this here and see once how it looks, you know? Because from the front, I hold this up to camera, we can kind of see, yeah, it's kind of Triforcean. The one corner isn't perfect, but you know we take those. Now, if I look at the back of this, that looks like it's gonna hold the uh, yeah. If we look at the back of this, see how you can kind of see the the way that these couching threads will probably hold that rip from expanding, especially because on this side the rip is now covered from tension or covered from repetitive stress like this by the patch. So that probably will hold. So, do I know this? Oh, this is Santa Fe. Of course I do. Or maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I don't, that's for sure. Where did that needle go? I thought I had misplaced the needle there for a second. I thought I'd misplaced the needle for a second. I thought I was going to play the world's pointiest game of Where's Waldo. No, we're good. So now this should hold pretty well. I mean, it doesn't seem to mind that I'm yanking on it a little bit. So I think that's that for this one. Unless we want to see how it's starting to come loose a little bit here at this corner too. Oh. There's a place for us is actually what's it was the same interval, you know, ba, 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 bum. You know, that's Santa Fe. And so I heard, there's a place for us. And I went, oh, that kind of sounds like Santa Fe. It's brain. Anyway, we might. This could do to be reinforced a smidgen. I don't know. I don't have a clever plan for that. I might just, you know what I might just do? Just because I have some black thread on the needle there, I might just kind of just real quick. Just kind of throw some stitches down on there to get it to stop doing that. Also, I don't know if I posted this in Loomies. I know I posted it in my Discord, which, by the way, I have a Discord. Discord. Even yesterday. This must have been their Pops concert, right? Uh, but I don't know if I showed this off on Loomies, but in my Discord in particular, I showed off this is the first Sashiko piece I've ever done. This is actually like, cause uh, you get a lot of tension, you get a lot of friction here, and so then pieces of the jorts start to flake, and so I Sashiko'd this, kind of like it's supposed to be kind of like a zigzag shape, but it kind of came out like a tiered waterfall type vibe. I'd still dig it. Tell you what, we have what? We got a little time. I'm just gonna, without even tensioning this really, we're just gonna throw a knot in this thread. Hide away in yesterday. To go now I long for yesterday. My low range does not go as fair. I'm glad to have you in the Discord. My low range does not go as low as I expect it to anymore. And so sometimes I go for a note and I'm like, oh, I don't have that one anymore. But glad to have you in the Discord. It's pretty quiet in there. And so more people to chat is always pleasant. I'm just gonna, I don't know what, can I like do this to get under that seam but still sort of actually. Yeah, I kind of like got under the seam without actually poking through quite so much of the seam. Yeah, I'd say we just kind of throw some stitches on there, see once what happens. I can't hear the low notes anyways. Very true. I love when folks have a good joke on deck about what their particular peculiarity is. I know this makes me laugh. Some people have a sense of humor about it, because I like to have a sense of humor about it. Oh man, yeah. The extended warranty on my phones, Oh man. I don't think this is gonna do what I think it does. This is kind of me improvising. I had a plan for the other one, but I didn't know this one was so causing trouble. This tense. I'm just gonna kind of throw a couple stitches in here, go over them a little bit, and see what becomes of it. If it don't work, it don't work. Such is fate. Holding this, I could tell you I'm starting to get a little frustrated. I gotta do this just so. I say we put one more in there, and then we just kind of... You know what I could do? Is I could do a traditional type... Yeah, people do with it what they want, absolutely. What I might do is I might do kind of a traditional darning type stitch. If I'm going to improvise, I might as well improvise with the classics, you know? Kind of do one of these. Get these 4 stitches. Where are they? Ooh, hey, West Side Story. You know, you'd think I would know West Side Story better. I've done samples from it 100 times. Almost like rain. Yeah, the more I hear this, the more I'm like, this is 100% their Pops concert, because this is all stuff that like normally choirs of this type would never do. You can just kind of tell from the way they're handling their tone. This is them being like, oh well, we're doing Pops, nice. But then the director is still sort of insisting on that very choral tone. Or at least I can tell. I tend to say things very like, oh, everyone can tell this. And then I remember I kind of have specialist knowledge about this kind of stuff. Some things just slip through the brain cracks. They really do. Right, and then where... If I can get under that one. What happens? That'll do. Okay. Right then, I think we're going to use this stitch here to... I keep pulling like up closer to my eyes to get the right dexterity, like the right get a read on the thread, and then that keeps pulling it out of frame. I knew I should have tilted the camera. Oh well, we know for next time. Okay, I'm gonna do one of these. Yank this the right way, it ought to come out tight. And it isn't. Oh, hey, I was pulling on the wrong thread is why. Let's make sure this is knotted. Give it one more knot real quick. Oh. Man, the connection's real thin tonight. Yeah. Okay, let's do one more knot, just because I like tying it in threes. You know, three feels like a lucky amount when it comes to knots. Superstitious of me? Maybe. Better three knots than one. Alright. Look at there. Just a little guy. Just a little improv guy. Glad you're happy to listen. Yeah, speaking of reading, I am gonna start doing promotion for this because it's coming soonish. Uh, Paper Cuts, my podcast where I read a book aloud to you, the stream viewer. Um, Coming back real soon here. I don't have a date exactly, but it is coming soon. So keep your eyes peeled on your favorite podcatcher for Paper Cuts books. That is available over here. Podcast should come up. Yeah. Uh, I've got some very fun things coming up the pipeline for that. As much as I'm enjoying this music, I think I need to pause it while I'm plugging. Uh, yeah. Paper Cuts is coming back real soon. Real soon, eventually. Within the next month, probably. I got some real fun books planned coming up. I've been doing a lot of planning behind the scenes, that sort of thing. That'll be coming back Friday nights soon, eventually. Keep an eye here, and obviously keep an eye on your podcatcher of choice. I'm gonna untangle this thread off stream. I'm gonna untangle this off stream. But yeah, Paper Cuts in a nutshell. For those of you who don't know what it is me reading a book aloud live. So, it starts out as a Twitch stream here, and I'm reading the book aloud to camera with the text on screen, and then I edit that down both into the podcast feed that's audio only and the VODs over on YouTube as well, which I think YouTube recently rolled out the ability to make a certain playlist a podcast now. So Paper Cuts should be marked as that. I don't know what that means on the back end or anything, but it is a thing that is true and valid. So if you like hearing my voice, if you've enjoyed hearing my voice, Paper Cuts is nothing but my voice for hours and hours and hours. I was just someone was asking in a Discord I was in, Discord I am in, I suppose. Oh man, I need some new shows to binge. I'm like, there is 9 straight days of Paper Cuts. You will not run out of content anytime soon. I'm no Critical Role, but I've been doing this for a few years. Um, what else? Maybe more Mending stream next Tuesday. We'll see. This Friday, normally that's the Paper Cuts time slot. We're between seasons right now, with the new seasons coming. If I am in a performant mood, I may actually start streaming me working on the stream assets. I've been rebuilding one of my layouts, not this one, but this one. This is the Paper Cuts layout, and it kind of has this like active little snow here. I've got some ideas on how to improve the snow, and so if I'm feeling like I want to be on camera for that, we might be back on Friday for that. Friday next for sure I will not be live. I've just got limes to juggle, but Tuesday next, maybe, probably. If not, embroidery, because all I have left is patching some holes in my shirts, and we'll see if those are large enough to actually, hassle with doing on stream or not. But if we're not embroidering on stream, what we'll be doing is a tabletop RPG. I've been on a huge kick for solo tabletop RPGs lately, and I think I found one that lets me build essentially encounter areas for
a group RPG that I've been wanting to play called Stillfleet, and I want to give it a shot on stream for the first time. So that's next Tuesday. Is that all my things? I think that's all my things that I have to plug on Tuesday nights. When I'm read streaming for Paper Cuts, I have another thing I have to plug, but I don't have to plug it here. I could plug it here, and technically, I will put it in the chat uh, because I'm nice. That's the group of reading streamers I'm in. Everybody else is a little more active than me right now because they're not between seasons of their podcast. But anyway, I almost just said the outro for Paper Cuts. This is not Paper Cuts, so we don't have to worry about whether it stings. But I'll see you guys Tuesday. Sound good? Do I have an outro for my game streams? Do I have an outro for my non-Paper Cuts streams? Probably not. Honestly, who's live right now? Speaking of, that's my outro. Is who the heck are we rating? Who's live right now? Who are we rating? Do we have anyone we can rate? Is Lumi? Lumi's probably not still live. Lumi started forever ago. Neither Lumi or Alternate are live right now. Ryusei's live. You know what? You know what? I have not spent enough time in this person's stream. We're gonna go say hi to Index Page. Raid Index Page. Index Page, for those curious, is literally a book-themed VTuber. So, like, of course I'm interested. I read books aloud for stream. So we're gonna go say hi to them. Her. I think her pronouns are she, her. Shows how much I've been paying attention. I have been meaning to watch more of Index Page for a while. Let's go say hi. Have a great evening, everyone.